we want to talk about is mastering marketing and building a solid marketing plan, okay? People in the room, who in here is at least responsible for or is part of the team that puts together your marketing plan, your marketing strategy every year? Show of hands, so a lot of people. Who thinks that's an easy task and you look forward to it every year? Who agonizes over it? Who loses sleep over it? Right? I've worked for a couple different companies. My background is 30 years in marketing, operations, management, and I've worked for some companies where it was just such an arduous task to put together a marketing plan. It just kept me up at night, and it was very early in my career, okay? I've worked for other companies where it was kind of a breeze. What we've tried to do is try to make it a little bit easy for you to follow a process to help with that plan. What we're going to say is this: whether your plan is elaborate, whether your plan is an executive summary, whether your plan is somewhere in between, make sure you have a plan. Always put together the best plan you possibly have. Pay attention to it, tweak it, add on it, and above all else, share it with your team. Too many of us do our marketing in silos. Too many of us aren't sharing information with the rest of the team. Your marketing plan, your marketing goals, should be directly in line with the goals of your company. If they're not, rethink how you're doing things. Bring everyone together. That's the job of marketing, okay? So, me, I lead the business development and marketing teams at EZMarketing. I've been there about 5 years. Kelly Hoffman is marketing manager and master of PowerPoints. A little bit about us. EZMarketing is a division of EZSolution. EZSolution started 20 years ago, a local guy named Tom Malesic knocking on doors selling websites. We've evolved into a company that does full-service marketing and a company that does full-service computer solutions. A division for each. Our goal, our mission, our why is simply this: marketing can be complicated. Marketing can be a mess. Marketing can keep you up at night. Marketing can make you go broke if done incorrectly. Marketing can make you rich if done correctly. What we try and do is make it a little bit easier. Take some of the stress out, some of the strain, help you along the process to make it profitable and help you sleep at night. When we talk to most people and we talk about marketing, we generally are looking at two big burning questions that people have. This may or may not be you, okay? Number one, who in here ever struggles when you're trying to decide what kind of marketing should you do? Should I do this? Should I have pay-per-click? Should I do billboards? Should I get in the paper? Should I get in Susquehanna Style? Should I do this? Should I do that? Has that ever affected anyone in here? Okay, you're not alone. And the answer is unequivocally 100% maybe. The question is, what's best for you? And how do you know it's best for you? And how do you make it effective? There's 100 reasons why your marketing succeeds. There's 100 reasons why your marketing fails. What we want to do is try and get to the process where you know what's best for you, and you know what's working, you know what you should continue doing, and you know what you should eliminate. Second part, how do you know if you're investing marketing dollars or just spending them and having them go out the door? Question, show of hands, honestly. Who's ever felt like the money that they were spending was either wasted or they had no idea if it was good or bad? Guarantee I've been there too. How many people have to answer to a boss who asks that question and he doesn't ask it as nice as I do? Right? Because from his standpoint, whose money is it? It's his money. It's coming out of his pocket. And what's as bad or sometimes worse than, am I wasting this money? Am I wasting opportunities? Is what I'm not doing keeping me from making money in other areas? Is what I'm doing the wrong thing to do, and am I not doing what I could be doing to make a lot more money? Okay? Those are burning questions. And with marketing, it's an inexact science. We want to try and make it as seamless as possible, try and take some of the mystery out. And forgive me, I get a little dry when I'm talking, so I'm going to drink a little bit. just water. Regardless of how I act, it's just water. One thing we caution everyone on, and I've said this for 20 years, what I never want to see anyone do is to do what most people do, and that's where they're guilty of what we call a tactic dump. What does that mean? It means that you're in charge of marketing, whether it be suddenly, gradually, you've been doing it forever, and you're responsible for the marketing of the company. And the owner, the boss, the board, someone comes to you and says, oh my gosh, business is starting to fall, what are we going to do? Have you ever done that, Darcy? And you have to say, well, we better do this, we better do that, or you know what, I'm not sure. And then what happens? Just that day, destiny, fate, the guy from Lancaster newspaper calls, and he says, it just so happens I can help you with that. Business is down. Do you know how many people read the paper? Business is down. If you want to improve your business, if you want to make a lot of money, if you want to be successful, you better start buying ads in the paper. Susquehanna Style gets hold of it too. They're calling saying, oh my gosh, do you know Susquehanna Style? The elite in Lancaster read Susquehanna Style, and people with very high incomes, and people with discerning tastes, and people with money to spend read Susquehanna Style. Radio, TV, newspaper, all have the answer to your questions. They can all save you. And are they right? 100% guaranteed, maybe. I'm not vilifying them. We love our friends at Lancaster newspaper. We love our friends at Clipper magazine. We love our friends with radio, TV. The question is, though, or the answer is, don't just do things to do them. Put together a plan, put together a strategy, make sure what you're doing is correct for your business. And make sure, too, that you're not just, even if you're I'm going to back up and say that again. Even if it's the right tactic, make sure you've got the right plan before the tactic. Meaning, make sure you've got the right message. Make sure you've got the right headline to draw people in. Make sure there's a proper call to action. Make sure it's the right offer. There's so many things that go into it. Don't just jump in and do it. In many cases, you might be better off doing nothing than doing the wrong thing. You know why? The end result will be the same. One way costs you money, the other way doesn't. So just be careful. I'm not saying these are wrong. I'm not saying you shouldn't do them. I'm just saying that don't just do them so you feel like you're doing something. Always plan before you get started. Does anyone ever hear of a guy named Abe Lincoln? Regarded as a fairly smart man. And he had one hell of a sharp axe. All right? He said, if you give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'll spend 4 hours sharpening it. Maybe a little extreme, but do you get the point? Don't start in on the task until you're prepared. Make sure you've put together a proper plan and you've got the right tools in place and you're ready to go. We're going to talk about different steps of marketing. I'm going to go through them a couple times. Step number 1, discovery. Understand your business universe. Understand who you are and what you represent. Understand who your competition is. Understand what you bring to the table. Don't assume that you already know it. Sometimes because you're so close to it, sometimes because you're an expert in your industry, you're too close to see the forest through the trees. Second thing, ideation. After you've done your discovery, after you know your strengths, your weaknesses, your competitors, that's when you develop a brand profile. Who are your ideal customers? What's your USP? This answers the burning question. Why should anyone do business with you when I can do business with anyone else? If that's not readily available in everything that you're doing, take a step back and do that. Number 3, strategy. Strategy is the big picture. It's the big picture concept of what you're going to do to help drive business. Oftentimes people confuse strategy and tactics. We're going to get a little bit more into that as we go. Tactics is where the rubber hits the road. Tactics are where you're actually doing things. This is your website. This is your SEO. This is your newspaper ad. Okay? What we found is when we talk about a tactic dump, where are most people starting in the process? Right there at number 4. If you do that, are you going to be successful? Maybe. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes it's just glaringly obvious. Our point is back up, take a step back, and make sure you prepare yourself to be successful. Number 5, analysis. Track everything. If you can't track it, consider not doing it. And there's different ways to track. There's different metrics on tracking different things. We'll talk about that. And lastly, adaptation. Be nimble. Be flexible. Test yourself along the way and make adjustments as you need to. You don't want to be completely inflexible with your marketing. You don't want to be willy-nilly and try everything that comes down the pike, but you want to adjust tactics as you need. Number 1, discovery. And we're talking deep discovery. It's getting a good handle on exactly who you are and what you're all about and who you're attracted to, who you can help. When we talk about it too, get a good understanding of your business universe. And when you look at your business universe, who do you look at it through the eyes of? The customer. Too many people, when they're talking about their business universe, they're focused on their marketing, who do they start with? Themselves. Too many businesses make the mistake of just going in and talking about who they are, how great they are, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this. Look how wonderful we are. Clients really don't care how great you are. What do clients generally care about? Themselves. What can you do for me? So you always have to answer that question. What can you do for the customer? What do you bring to the table? How is it that what you do can improve the lives of your clients? We'll talk about that a couple times this week. When we talk about learning your business universe, be honest with yourself. Be objective with yourself. Has anyone ever done a SWOT analysis on themselves? Good. It's a hard thing to do. It's hard to look at yourself objectively, especially if you're the one that's doing the marketing for your company. But when we talk about SWOT, obviously strengths. What are you great at? What is it that you do that you're either better than, faster than, more economical than, you've got greater power at than anybody else? Have you ever asked your clients, what do your clients say that they love about you? Guarantee you, if you've been in business for a little while, you're doing some things right, or you just have too much money. What do your clients say about you? What do they enjoy? What was the reason that they bought from you? Why do they keep coming back? Make sure you ask them. If you'll simply ask them, they'll probably tell you. And what advantages do you have? If we look at weaknesses, and again, here's where you've got to be objective. You don't want to get down on yourself. You don't want to get depressed. You don't want to be unable to get out of bed or work. But you've got to ask yourself objectively, where are we weak? Where do we need to improve? Our clients that are not always thrilled or complain about us, what are they complaining about? And it's not because they're dumb. It's not because they're stupid. They didn't make the mistake. What are we doing that we could be doing better? Yes?
Chris, is there any chance you could give us the PowerPoint after this is over so we can
Happy
pay
to.
attention, listening rather than writing?
Yep, absolutely.
How can we accomplish that? From the
You just did.
registration?
Yep. Yeah, we'll post it on our website.
Okay.
And if you'd like it sent to you specifically, just see Kelly afterward. We'll make sure that happens.
We'll
So
just
the question
send it
is,
out
will we
across
send
the
the
board.
PowerPoint? We absolutely will.
Yes.
This is, we're happy to share this with everybody. And if some of our competition gets a hold of it, we'll do it. Okay? Big question too. Why don't people choose to buy from you? Why did they buy from the competition? Sometimes that's hard to ask. You know why? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid is going to happen if you ask that question? Could have been something you did, whether or did or didn't do. I know I hate to ask that question. I'm very insecure. Can't stand it. Okay. Opportunities. What's changing in the industry? Are there trends you should be a part of? Are there underserved areas of the marketplace? Where can we come in? What's not being done? Who's missing something that we could capitalize on? And threats. What obstacles do you face? What's the competition like? Who studies competition? Anyone here to do a competitive analysis? frequently? Do you look at it objectively? What are they doing right? Let's learn from them. Yeah, I mean, they're doing something right too, or they wouldn't be in business, okay? And the big question, the threat could be simply, do you have a marketing plan? And is your plan correct? One of the things too, we want you to study your competition. What is their business universe? What does their website look like? Are they doing SEO? Are they doing pay-per-click? What are they doing on social media? And where are they advertising? Okay? One of the things too, everyone, please understand, you have competition. We talk to people sometimes and they say, well, I really don't have competition, or the competition can't touch us. If you're doing well, that's great. But what we don't want you to do, we don't want you to be, don't be a blockbuster. What do I mean by that? Blockbuster. Obviously, who remembers Blockbuster? It's a big deal, right? Go to Blockbuster, and we're going to watch a movie tonight, we're going to go get a video. Who remembers just looking through the shelves and you almost ran in there to the new releases, right? You had to get ahead of the other family that just pulled in. Because there are only so many copies of the good movies, how to get there. Blockbuster were the kings and queens. Blockbuster ruled everything. Blockbuster got so big too. While you were standing in line, what did they have there too? While you're waiting in line to check out your video. Popcorn, candy, it's just like the movies. And I don't have to spend all that money, it's great. What happened to Blockbuster? They didn't pay attention to the competition. They thought they were untouchable. Let me tell you, no one's untouchable. Okay? Blockbuster, too, had the opportunity to buy Netflix back in 2000. They could have bought it for how much? 50 million bucks? Yeah. Blockbuster had the opportunity to buy Netflix for $50 million. And they said, we don't need you guys for Blockbuster. What happened? When was the last time you were in a Blockbuster? When was the last time you looked at Netflix? Netflix is now valued at $11 billion. So that $50 million investment would have been a big deal. Netflix was paying attention to the trends in the marketplace, the way people wanted to watch movies, the convenience. Blockbuster was not. Don't be Blockbuster. Be Netflix. Be nimble. Look for opportunities. Big question too, who are your customers? And the customer is not just anybody who has some money to spend, anyone who will walk in the door, anyone who will do business with us. Look for your ideal customers. Look for the customers that you like to do business with. Look for the customers that you're profitable with. Look for the customers that you think, oh my gosh, if I could just get a few more of these guys every month, life would be great. Those are the customers you want to think about. Those are the type of customers that you want to attract. Here's more important than you identifying who those customers are. Does anyone know what that is? Why do they like us? Why is this great customer that I love, why are they doing business with us? Why are they attracted to us? What made them choose us when they could have chosen anyone else out there? Anyone besides me in a competitive market? Why did they choose you? You need to know that. Don't take it for granted. And try and recreate that as much as possible. The other thing you want to know, what's a customer worth? For some of us, a customer one time would be $40 or $50. But what you have to look at is, what's the lifetime value of that customer? Is it someone that comes back every month? Is it someone that can buy additional services? Is it someone that the buying trends, in your case, Justin, someone that buys something every 5 years or so, but there's other opportunities? What's the customer worth? What's the lifetime value of that customer, and what are you going to do to keep that customer forever? How do you protect that so the competition doesn't grab that customer? Also, identify too, what kind of marketing are you doing? When we talk about people and we sit down with them and say, look, tell us about the marketing you're doing right now. What are you doing? Is it working for you? Oftentimes, almost every time, we're going to hear one of two answers. It's going to be either, I'm not sure, or we're doing okay. Occasionally, we're meeting with people that say, we're just killing it. We love that. We don't want everyone to be doing that. We wouldn't have anything to do. But we love that. The other thing is, here's something we ask everyone too. Ask yourself this. Is my marketing working for me? And what should you change? Or what would I change? If I could change one thing about what this is doing, what would it be? Then the big glaring question, who was at the last seminar we had on websites? Good. And some of you came back, that's great. What was one of the first questions I asked about your website? Are you proud of it? When you look at it, do you well with pride? Are you like a proud parent looking at your child? Oh my gosh, how wonderful is that? Or are you embarrassed? Is it how my kids look at me when I'm trying to be funny? Okay? Are you proud of your marketing? Can you not wait to show it to people? If your boss asks or someone on your team asks, well, let's take a look at what you did. Are you going, well, look at this? Or is it, well, I guess I can get it. Okay. Be proud of it. If you're not proud of it, you need to do one or two things. Remember what that is? Change it, get proud of it, or lower your expectations. Learn to live with disappointment. Okay? Step number 2, ideation. Okay? This is where we get to the core of who you are and what you bring to the table. We're going to watch a short, it's a 2-minute video. Did anyone ever hear of Simon Sinek? He's a speaker like me. All right? He might be a little more famous, I don't know. But one of the things we talk about when we talk about the ideation and the core of who you are, here's the burning question. And you've heard this before, you've heard it referred to in different ways. What's your why? Why do you do what you do? Why is what you do able to make an impact on other people? People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it and what it means to them. Simon Sinek says it okay too. Well, listen to him.
Golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, when you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, that's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
I think somewhere Simon Sinek explaining this seminar. I could be wrong. The sad part is I do believe that. So, again, simple concept, you've heard it before, but how often do you look at what you're doing and employ that? How often do you call people on it? How often do you call yourself on it? If you're not, it's not too late. The good news is it's not over, all right? We're still in the game. But ask yourself the why. Ask yourself what. Ask yourself how. How is it that what you're doing helps people? Why is this going to be important to my target audience? How do I make their life a little better because they're doing business with me? Always start there. If you're not answering those questions and you're not answering them clearly, or you're not answering to the delight of your clients, it's time to go back to the drawing board. Again, it's not too late. Don't give up. Keep trying. Who in here is in business to business? Who's in the business to business community? Good number. How about the business to consumer? Good. 50-50. One of the things we always want to make sure we never forget, that even though whether you're in business to business, whether you're in business to consumer, we're all in the B to P business, meaning we're all in the business to people business. Because who are you doing business with when you're doing business with a company? It's the people in that company. The question is, what are you doing to make their lives easier, better, more desirable? Think about what you do. You're a person. You take it very personally. You stay up at night worrying about things. If you're doing business with a company that makes your life better, easier, more rewarding, makes more money to the company, that made an impact. Don't get so caught up in that you're business to business that you're only writing for businesses. We're all in the business to people business. Everything you're doing is focused on appealing to a specific person. Okay, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit more detail. Does that make sense? Business to people. When we talk about that, we talk about specific buyer personas. A buyer persona is what makes up a person. And it goes much deeper than demographics. Okay? When you talk about buyer personas, ask yourself, what goes on in this person's life that I'm trying to attract? What are their goals? What are their pain points? What obstacles do they face? Again, whether personally or professionally. How can what you do help with those? What questions do they have? What keeps them up at night? How do they prefer to get their information? Are they people that prefer to get their information online? Are they people that prefer to get their information through trade pubs? Through magazines? Basic demographics are not enough. It's the whys. A good example of this. Do you know anyone in your life who is a really good gift giver? Right? Who is the person that always comes up with the perfect gift? There's one in the room. Did Bill leave? I was going to say something nice about him the first time in 3 years. We have Bill Hager. There's always one person that's just a great... Would you guys agree with that? Bill Hager is the best gift giver. He is. It's really sad. He's the best gift giver I've ever met. Why? Because he understands people. He asks questions. He knows a little bit about you. So every gift he gives you was something he put a lot of thought in, and it was exactly what you needed, exactly when you needed it. Think about that for the people that you're trying to attract. Okay? We had a good gift giver this morning. What did you bring in this morning, Lisa? Pretzels for Brittany. And Brittany's eyes were huge. Brittany was so happy because Lisa knew that Brittany liked pretzels. Okay, so great example of a gift giver. Was it the most important thing in her day? No, but she understands her cohort. She understands what her needs are. Think about that in your marketing. What are you doing? How well do you understand your clients? An example of that. We, as in EZMarketing, have certain personas that we try and attract. Okay? Tell me if this sounds like you. You're a VP, director, or senior professional, and you're responsible for the marketing of your business. You're managing a limited internal marketing team, and you just don't have enough time or resources to get everything done. You're concerned about proving the effectiveness effectiveness of your marketing and justifying your expenses. Whatever you spend, you've got to justify. And you want to keep current on marketing trends and best practices, but you know what? It's just hard to find the time. There's so many things going on, and you barely have any time left over at the end of the week. Does this sound like anyone here? How about this? Does this sound like anyone here? You're responsible for doing everything on the calendar. You post all the social media. You do all the ads. You send out all the emails. And you just can't catch your breath. There's never a time when you can just sit back and think, am I doing this right? Should I be doing other things? It's just so much caught up in day to day. Does that sound like anyone here? Third one. You own your business. You wear a lot of hats. You're running it day to day. You're managing people. You yourself are doing the actual work of the business. And when you have free time, you do marketing. Does that sound familiar to anyone in here? Those are our 3 buying personas or buyer personas. We understand that those are the 3 people that we appeal to at EZMarketing. Our jobs is to find ways to make life a little bit easier for you, a little better for you, to answer the questions that keep you up at night. So are we a business to business business? Yes. But who are we working with? Who are we trying to please? Who are we trying to help? What's our why? To try and make things just a little bit easier. To take this great big mess and try and make it work for you. Try and give you extra pairs of hands, an objective set of eyes. That's what we're looking for. So think about that in what you're doing. Yes, you're business to business or business to consumer, but who are you specifically appealing to? We're not just looking at males or females ages 35 to 55 that live in Lancaster County. There's so much more to that than just the basic demographics. Make sense? USP. What makes you special? I'll give you a hint. It's not great customer service. We do not ever accept that answer. The only place I'd probably ever accept that answer from would be a company like Chick-fil-A. And even then, anyone here fans of Chick-fil-A? Like them, hate them, don't like them? Can we all agree they have great service? They really embody that. Do they ever say we have great customer service? No. They say we create great experiences. Every time you come in here, we want you to enjoy yourself. We're going to go out of our way. We're going to remember your name. How many times do they say your name in line at Chick-fil-A before you even get your food? You tell the guys I eat a lot of chicken. 3 times. I've counted. They're going to say your name 3 times before you can get your food. Little things. These are actual quotes. When you want quality at affordable price, you trust our expert plumbers. Well, we need an expert plumber. All the other plumbers are what? We're dummies. We're the only smart plumbers in town. You better do business with us. Quality service is our #1 concern. Not like those other guys. Your pipes are going to leak when you hire them. And it's our commitment to our customers that sets us apart. Because clearly all other plumbers are not committed to their customers. They could care less about you. You're lucky they even show up. Does that really set you apart? Is that really a USP? No. An example of a good USP. IKEA. Again, like IKEA, hate IKEA, think their furniture is crap, think it's great, doesn't matter. Here's what they talk about. To create a better everyday life for the many people, right? IKEA has something for everybody. This is the IKEA vision. Our business idea is to offer a wide range of well-designed, functional home furnishing products at prices so low that as many people as possible will be able to afford them. You may not like IKEA, but if you want to get some of their stuff, you could probably afford it. And they appeal to who? The masses. That's Bill, I was saying good things about you. You missed it.
Well, I had to leave because you promoted my chicken barbecue. My tickets were in my car.
Now, I've heard everything. So, IKEA. That's a much better USP. What makes them unique? Just that. We're well designed, we appeal to the masses, and we want to create better everyday life. Why? If you're able to afford decent furniture, your life's better. You're not sitting on the floor.
Do you think people go overboard sometimes with that idea? Or certain businesses?
I think some people do. I think, and we've talked about this before, whatever it is, you need to embody it. You need to live it. You can't just say it.
Well, I think there's some car dealership that's in our area that brand themselves as a life improvement company. So if I need some therapy, I'm going to go to them.
Yeah, I know I do.
It just seems to be a little bit too much.
It's cheap. No, I agree, and you've got to live it. And it's tough too, when you're selling something that is a commodity, meaning you can buy a Ford Escort, and do they still make that? You can buy a Ford Fusion from, and you do that? I don't know. You can buy it from so many different places. So yeah, Jeff, I do think sometimes people are. One thing too, we talked about being nimble, being flexible. Your USP will evolve as your business does. MailChimp. Anyone here a fan of MailChimp? And just for the sake of, are there any zoologists in the room? Right. This is not actually a chimp. All right, but it was a good video. Kelly has to throw one in to everyone just because it amuses her. This is not a chimp. This is really a rhesus monkey, but MailChimp's USP. Starting out is we want to send better emails. What is it now? Build your brand, sell more stuff. What a great USP. What a great evolution. They're not selling email services, they're selling what it does. Right? It's not what it is, it's what it does. Build your brand, sell more stuff. Goals. We talked about goals before too. What are the goals of your company? What are the goals of your marketing? Increase sales. Build brand awareness, get better lead quality, get customer relations, retention, enter new markets, improve processes, right? Build your marketing goals around your overall business goals. We had this slide in the last presentation, a little bit different. Make sure all your goals are SMART goals. SMART being specific, measurable, make sure they're attainable. That's where sometimes you have to have a little conflict with the boss or the board. Say, look, we've got to be realistic or we're going to be disappointed all year long. Always have the goals reachable and exceed them. Don't work from a position of distress and failure all year long. Make sure they're relevant to what's going on. Make sure they're timely. And again, measurable, the goal, or specific, the goal shouldn't be, I want to make more money. What does that mean? The goal should be, look, we want to grow revenue by 25% in the next 12 months. Right? That's measurable because you know where you started, you know where you're going to be. And work backwards. In order to grow revenue by 25%, you need to figure out, well, how many sales do I need to get at my average sales price? How many leads do I need to make that many sales? And how many visitors do we need to get that many leads, to make that many sales at that price to grow revenue by that amount? Work it backwards. Again, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but sometimes things that are just glaringly obvious get overlooked. I think the battery. Strategy. And again, when we talk about strategy, we're talking about the big picture, the overarching concept of how we're going to get where we're going to go. How are we going to achieve our goals? Okay? When you talk about strategy, what is the most common illustration that people use? How do people describe strategy for the most part? War. Here's what we're going to do. Got to get our ships. We're going to win. We're going to do this and this. We feel that the world is violent enough. Okay? We want to go a little bit kinder, gentler approach. And we guarantee you something. No marketers were harmed in the making of these slides. Right? My feelings got hurt a little bit because I want to do the war now. But no marketers were harmed. When we talk about it, start off when you're talking about strategy, you need to start off with goals. Okay? Our goal here was an example of the strategy. The goal was we're here in Lancaster, PA. We want to get to Seattle, Washington. Okay? So that's the goal. How are we going to do that? Step number one, we decided we're going to get there in a month. We're going to go by car. So we're going to take a road trip. And that's our primary goal. We're going to go by road. We're going to go in a month. Secondary goal is while we're going, we want to see a little bit of the country. So we decided we're going to take a southern route. So the strategy is we're going to get in the car, we're going to get across the country, we're going to do it in about 30 days, and here we go. if we didn't have a goal with that strategy, would we eventually get to Seattle?
Chris, why are you going to Seattle?
We're going to go to the original Starbucks.
Wouldn't Hawaii have been first?
We could say that. Okay? I might skip some steps as I'm going, but absolutely. So the goal is to get to Seattle. I'll concede that, absolutely. Why do we want to get to Seattle? What's going to happen when we get there? We're going, in this case, we're going to visit family. Because there's no way they're going to come to me. Right? So we're going to go to them. No, good point. Good point. So we're getting in the car. The goal is, if we don't have a goal to get there in 30 days, will we get there eventually? Maybe. Will we see places along the way that we wanted to see? Maybe. Will we run out of gas? Probably. Do we have enough money? I don't know. Are people going to be home when we get there if we went to something for a specific reason? The idea is, the strategy is to get there by road. The goal is to make sure we get there within 30 days and we see stops along the way. The tactics are the exact plan we're going to follow to get there. The tactics are, we're going to go by car, we're going to drive approximately 400 miles a day, and we're going to stop at hotels that we've already made reservations in along the way. We know how much the hotels are going to cost. We know how much gas we're going to need. We've got X amount of dollars, we can go and do this. So the tactics are the actual stopping point. Again, if we did this without tactics, without specific tactics, would we eventually get to Seattle? Maybe, probably. Would we get there efficiently? Could we run out of gas? Could we run out of money? Could we stop in places and the rooms were $800 a night? Could we stop in places and get $10? Okay. The idea is that tactics help us get there and help us get there expeditiously. So when you're talking, does that make sense from a strategy standpoint? When we're talking about accomplishing goals, number one, know why you're doing it. I'll concede that. Prioritize your goals. Determine your overall approach. And above all else, guys, write it down. One of the things we did not talk about, but when you've got a specific marketing plan, if it's not written down, it's not really a plan. What is it? It's an idea. It's a wish, a hope, a dream. The difference between something that's a plan and something that's a wish is whether or not you write it down, commit to it, and one other step I'd recommend, share it. Otherwise, who's going to hold you accountable other to yourself? And one thing that I've learned, I'm very good at making excuses for myself. I'm smart enough to justify my bad behavior. I'm smart enough to have 100 reasons why something didn't happen. Guess what? Have any of them ever been my fault? No. As I get older, I agree. Who is it leader cast? One of the things that struck me, one of the speakers, and I'm sorry I forget who it is, made a comment that he's been part of every bad decision he's ever made. Andy, say thank you. Yeah. So, good point. When we talk about marketing strategy and we overlap a little bit into tactics, we talk about the 7 P's of marketing. Has anyone ever heard this before, the 7 P's of marketing? The first 3 are more in the strategy category. And it's your product. What product are we going to have? It's your price. What are we going to sell it for so that we can make a buck on it? It's the place, meaning what's the market, where are we going to offer this? Then it's things like promotion. What are we going to do to get this across? And again, these will be in your notes, and I'll make sure I share it. So you can write certainly if you want to, but you don't have to write here, so we'll share this. Physical evidence, meaning what is the product like? How is it packaged? Is it attractive? Is it appealing to the target clients? What process are we going to use to sell and market this product? And people, who's going to be responsible for it? The top 3, product, price, place, are all part of your overall strategy. Promotion, physical evidence, process, and people are all part of tactics. Couple marketing tips, couple marketing hacks, and this is going to go to the why. Don't sell what it is, sell what it does. Is anyone familiar with Mario? Super Mario, all that? Video gamers, raise your hand if you're familiar with this person right here. I was going, who the heck is that? Here's your potential client, it's Mario. Mario by himself is looking to get a product. In this case, the product is, what do we call this? Fire flower, okay? Mario wants fire flower. Why? It's not the fact that it's fire flower. You're familiar with it?
No.
It's what. Okay. It's what fire flower does for Mario. It takes regular plain old Mario, and when he gets fire flower, he becomes Fire Mario. So he has super abilities, and he can fly, and he can throw fireballs, and he can kill people. So again, it's not the fact that it was the product, it's what the product does for Mario. It made him better. It improved his life. Maybe not for the better, for the rest of us, but again, don't focus on the features, focus on the benefits, what this product does for the person. I think our remote's done. Marketing message number 2. Tell them why they should buy it from you. Okay? Number 1, this is why the product is good. This is why the product can improve your life. Number 2, what's part of that? Why should you buy it from me versus anyone else? And that, Jeff, we go back to a car dealer, okay? Here's a product, we're going to improve your life because you're going to have this new Ford Explorer. It's going to do they make Explorers now? We're going to have this Ford Explorer. It does this and this. You get to be off-road. You get to look cool. Imagine how great you'll be if you have this. Why buy it from me when I can buy it from anyone else? What are the benefits? One thing, too, does everyone remember these commercials? Mm-hmm. Mac versus PC? At any time, did they ever say to you that I'm a Mac, so I'm cool, I'm trendy, I'm fashionable? Did they ever say that if you buy a PC, you're a dork? But that was the implication, wasn't it? So why this product versus that one? The sad part is, I relate a lot more to this guy than this guy. That tells a story, okay? But how is it different from what your competitors offer? How is it in your USP? What do you do, or how are you doing it differently that it makes sense to get my product versus someone else's? And be original. Don't use tired cliches. Don't say, well, if you do this, it's going to be that. Imply it. Everything you do should tell that story, should create that message. Marketing message number 3. Don't get so caught up in industry jargon that people get lost. Talk like a human being. Talk like a real person. We're big on MailChimp today. I'm going to play another short video. This one's about 30 seconds. Okay, short MailChimp video. Ready?
If you run an online business, you've got to send emails and do ads and talk to people if you want them to buy your stuff. But that's a lot of people and you only have one brain. Wrong. With MailChimp, you get 2 brains. A MailChimp brain and the one you already have, probably. When you turn it on, it can do things your other brain doesn't have time to do, or can't do, or doesn't want to do. Those things are called automations. But I think it's like one big brain. So that's why we're talking about brains.
Didn't get caught up in a lot of jargon, didn't get caught up in semantics, just talked about what? Making it easier, making it smarter, automation. If you do this, it's going to make it so much easier for you to do this and this, and you know what? We understand that you get tired, we understand you got a lot going on. We can help you with that. Your marketing should be clear, succinct.
Isn't this a big problem with marketers? The idea of not being simple or communicating like, I don't know, but I read some websites where they're using so many jargons and terminology, synergies and all that. I don't even know what the company does.
I would agree. Has anyone ever seen that? You get done, you look at a website and you go, what do they do? Or the big test, why should I care? Big 3, and we've talked about this in other seminars, answers these 3 questions. Who are you? Why should I care? What do you want me to do? If I don't know what you do, how can I care about you? So good. Exactly. I would agree with that. And most important thing is, make them feel. Yeah, it's important to make people think, but why do most people do anything? It's how they feel. Most people that do business with you, no matter what it is, do so, at least on some level, on an emotional basis. They back it up with logic. They justify it with the talking points of it, but it's based on emotion. Your marketing, if done correctly, makes people feel. Message number 4, always tell people what to do next. We actually have 2 messages here. Number 1, have good calls to action. Tell them what to do next. People like to be led. People like to be guided. People are looking for a good customer journey. They want to follow in line with what they should do. What helps with that, what helps people make a decision, what helps people take the next step, guarantees are social proof, meaning social proof other people are saying, this is really good and you should do business with this company. If I tell you how great we are, you're going to take that with a grain of salt. You say, well, of course he's going to say that. If Ryan tells you how great we are, you're going to sit up and pay attention because he has no vested interest in doing it. Okay? So 2 things, good clear calls to action, and social proof and guarantees definitely help to move people down the line, help with the process. We talk about strategy, we also talk about budgets. People always ask about budgets. Well, how much should I do? What do we need to set aside? Generally, there's 2 ways to do things when we talk about budgeting. And you probably fit in one of these categories. Number 1 is you've either given yourself, you've been allocated, or you set aside X amount of dollars. What can I afford to do to market my business? What we do is we take that number and we figure out what's the best way for us to get where we need to go using this particular budget. We're going to do the best we can with what we have. Does anyone in here operate under that method? You got X amount of dollars for marketing, spend it however you want, good luck. Anybody? Wow. The other way, and hopefully you're all here, our goal is to do this. We want to grow revenue by 25%. We want to do it in the next 1 year. What do we need to do? What tactics do we need? What strategy do we need to employ? And how much do we need to spend to get there? Does anyone operate in that field? How do you operate? We don't have a budget. Anybody there? So zero based. You have to go in and convince. Is that how most of us are working?
Yes.
That's tough. You guys are, it's a tough situation to be in. Most people we talk to, it's either I've got X amount of dollars or you tell me what I need to do, Chris, and we'll do it, but we better get there. Okay? So go ahead. You got a question?
I think it's a little bit misnomer if we think we don't have a budget, because whether even if we're volunteers for an organization, that our work is the budget, right? Our time is the budget.
Okay.
So, I think it's easy to see sort of glass half empty, but how we prioritize really
Right.
is that.
So it's not that you have no money, you just have no set aside money. It's zero based and you do things as you need. All the more reason, guys, anyone working, and thank you for that, all the more reason to have a good marketing plan so you can go and make a case for needing this much money to move forward. Good. But again, I'll still say that's a tough spot to be. It's much, the ideal way is, what do you need to accomplish your goals? Here's what we need to do, now let's do it. Second is, you got this much money, let's operate in this space, go. Third way, and we didn't have it up there, is make a case for what you need. And someone says yes or no.
Well, I don't mind saying that with my company, when I first came on board, we talked about budgets. But I work for the owner of a company who's a construction person, construction-minded, operations-oriented. I didn't think appreciated the idea of marketing.
Yep.
Doesn't understand it. So I told him, I said, you can give me a budget or you make me the evangelist, and I'll turn you into a market. I spend a lot of my time selling my ideas to my owner and get him to buy into it and justify it,
Which is what a lot of us do. Does that sound familiar? And you've got a tough spot, and there's a lot of that. Oftentimes, the owner, the board, are not people that are marketing people, not people that are promotion people, may not be business development people. They're very good at what they've done, what they do. They're very good at building a business. They're innovators. They make things happen, but sometimes that's a tough sell. And that's one of the hardest things around. And that's where I wish I had the $1 million answer to that. What I will say is, though, the better prepared you are, the better case you make, the more likely you are that he'll write a check or allow you to spend the money. I wish we had a service where we could get Jonathan and Justin and we go visit people and make them spend money on marketing, right? But that's number one, it's illegal, just so you know. We tried. Number two, it probably wouldn't be that effective. But in the meantime, we all have to make a case. Best case you can make is be prepared, justify, and then make sure you track everything you're doing. So along the way, you have validation checkpoints. Look, this is what we invested, this is what we did, this is why I want to keep doing it. So it's a tough road. People ask too, what percentage of revenue should I use? The SBA recommends between 7 and 8% of gross revenue should be rededicated back to your marketing. Now, that number can vary. What are your goals? How much do you want to grow? Are you looking to maintain? Are you looking to go into new markets? Are you doing a new campaign? Are you changing everything? Do you need to do a website this year? How competitive is what you're doing? So that number fluctuates. But a good rule of thumb, 7 to 8% of gross revenue should be reinvested in marketing. And one of the things we talked about right in the beginning, are you spending money on marketing or are you investing money in marketing? You should know the difference, and that makes the sell that much easier. If the owner's only ever seen that I put $100 into this and I lost $100, it's going to be a tough sell. If you can show the owner, the board, the people you're reporting to that, look, when you give me $1,000, I make you $2,000, it's going to be a lot easier to get money from you. Hardest part, that first year. Make sure you've got good metrics. You've got one opportunity, you can't mess it up. We need to make the most of it. Tactics. Tactics is where we start to get things done. Tactics is where we're doing things. We've made a plan, we understand who we are, we understand who the customer is, we understand a great message. Now let's jump in there and do it. Tactics are the specific actions you're using to execute your strategy. Okay? How are you going to reach your target audience? Tactics, your email, your website, SEO, social media, public relations, referral programs, websites, surveys. This is a website place, didn't it? I'm big on websites. The newspaper, everything that you're doing should be all part of your tactics. And which ones should you be doing? Depends on the business. I will tell you that for almost every business, there are 4 that we recommend where it's kind of not up for a vote. You've got to do these. You've got to do them well. You've got to do them consistently. And you can't just set it and forget it. You've got to pay attention to these 4. Okay? Anybody want to know what they are? All right, good. I'm glad you asked. I skipped the slide. It was so good I built that up and I missed the slide. Okay? How do you decide which tactics? Base them on 3 things. What are your goals? I mean, what do we hope to accomplish? Who's my audience? What I mean by that is, okay, we know that the audience is this type of person. How does that person gather their information? How do they consume data? What methods do they use to become educated, to find out what they should be doing? And lastly, what's the budget? You may want to do a lot of TV. You may want to do a lot of radio. You may want to hire planes to fly overhead. If your budget doesn't allow it, let's think about something else. So whatever we're going to do, let's make sure it's in line with our goals, it's in line with our audience and how they consume information, and what we can afford to do. You can make a great plan, but if you can't afford to do it, it won't do you any good. You can make a great plan, but if that's not where your audience gets their information, you've wasted all that money. Here's the must-haves. All right, I liked it so much better before. What do you have to have? You've got to have a website. It's not up for a vote, guys. Does anyone in here not have a website? I won't shame you. Okay. And what kind of website? The best one you could possibly afford. Okay? Not all companies can have a $50,000 website. Not all companies need a $50,000 website. You need, though, the best website you can afford to have. Why? 81% of shoppers conduct research online before making big purchases. Doesn't matter what business you're in, they're checking you out online. Why? They want to make sure you're credible. They want to make sure you're real. They want to make sure that you can do what you say you can do. And what is the perfect opportunity to do on your website? Talk about your why. Don't talk about all the things you do. Talk about ways that you help your target audience improve their lives. A website tells the story correctly every time. A website doesn't get tired. You don't have to be nice to a website. You don't have to pay a website benefits. They don't drink coffee. Okay? Have the best website you can do. And there's lots of ways to do it. If you have questions about, I've got only this much money or I've got this, answers on websites, shoot me an email, let me know, put it on the survey. Happy to point you in the right direction of how you can get a website for all budget levels. Okay? 91% of customers, too, have visited a store because of an online presence. Who goes out to dinner to a new place without looking at a website first? Or looking at your phone or something? You do? You're very daring, Darcy. So everybody but Darcy, no, I'm kidding. But most people, and you're the 9% that doesn't. Okay, you want to be surprised. Most people do a little research before they go. And how your website looks determines whether or not you're appealing to that particular point. So website, number one, SEO. What good is having a great story? What good is having a great message? What good is it if you're the best person that could possibly help anybody if people can't find you? Okay? You've got to have SEO, in some form or another. The best you can possibly afford. 3.5 billion Google searches happen every day. Every day. That's a lot. 3.5 billion searches every single day. And 71% of B2B researchers start with a generic search. People tell us all the time, well, people don't shop that way. Yes, they do. They are checking you out. They're looking at your credibility. They're verifying facts. It doesn't matter what business you're in. They are checking you out, and you will be judged by what they find. Should you judge a book by its cover? No, but do people? Sorry, Mom, they do. Not in your case, no. They judge a book by its cover. And 72% of consumers are doing a local search within 5 months. So local search is part of SEO. Local search is validation that you are in fact who you say you are, that you reside at the address you say, and you're someone that is capable of doing the job. Number 3, social media. I have this conversation all the time. I had this conversation yesterday with a company. Should we be doing social media? Do we need a Facebook page? Yes. Are people really going to go on your Facebook page if you're doing business-to-business corporations? Probably. And is it because they're going to get that information about you? No, but who are you doing business with? People. It's people to people. It's business to people. People aren't checking out your Facebook page. And it's not that they think, well, I'm going to buy a tractor because of Facebook. They want to know about the company. They want to know what you're doing in the area. They want to know about your experiences. They want to know who you're following. They want to know who you're attached to. And you can't get a more economical way to market than social media. 1.4 billion active users on Facebook alone. I know we lost some. There's a problem with credibility, and I'll tell you this. Does anyone here not know that if you put personal information on Facebook, marketers are going to use it? So I know Congress loves the feigned outrage about everything, okay? But okay, did we lose 100 million users? Does it matter? All right, it was 1.5 or 1.499. 1.4 billion daily active users on Facebook. And it's cheap. Use it. If you don't have a good social media presence, start with. And I'm saying Facebook, how about LinkedIn? Who in here has a LinkedIn profile? Who in here uses it regularly? Keep doing it. You're doing a good job. Be active in it and let people know what's going on. Who in here has trouble with staffing, looking for qualified people? You'd be hard-pressed to find a better tool for recruitment, more cost-effective than LinkedIn. 25% of adult internet users use LinkedIn. So, speaking of that, a third of all the minutes spent on the internet are on social media and messaging. 1 in 3 minutes spent are on social media. That's a lot of minutes. Another must-have, email. Guys, you can't get a more cost-effective way to market than email. How many people, and I'm going to embarrass some people, I'm sorry, I don't mean to. We're all friends here. We're all close, we're all tight. Who in here has a great, robust email list? Good. Who uses it often? I know Chamber does, Cookie Nook does, you guys do. Who wishes they had a great email list? I'm going to say this. If you do nothing else this year, if you take nothing else away from this seminar, work on building your email list. Figure out a way to do it. Figure out a way to capture names. Figure out a way to send out emails. And figure out a way to do it properly. We don't want to spam people. We don't want to bore people. We don't want to send them crap that they don't want. Figure out a way to do a good email strategy. I'm willing to help anybody in here with that if they have questions on it. So again, put it on the survey and give me a call, shoot me an email. Happy to help with that at any level.
If you haven't already done it, I would ask that in the future you do a seminar just solely
Just on
on
email.
email marketing, because I'm not a fan of it. I've never been a fan of it. My email list is fantastic, but when I get in my inbox every morning, delete, I'm thinking everybody else is just like me.
Okay.
I don't know.
And I'll concede that. Does anyone in here, though, like to get certain emails? Are there certain emails that you get that you like? The trick is to not be the crap and be the cream. So the bottom line is, let's figure out a way for you to be the guy that people look forward to the email. And let's work on the message for that, let's work on the audience for that, and let's work on the frequency of how often to do that. So Jeff, I won't try too hard to convince you. I will say,
But I'm conceding that
your mind is off. No, I'm kidding.
well, but I realize I'm missing something.
Could be. And again, there's 100 reasons why email is effective. There's 100 reasons why it isn't. Let's find the email that's effective. Because again, there are certain emails that the same thing. I get spam, crap, junk too. But I also get some that I'm happy that they come. And I know, and I'll use Chamber as a good example of that. They send some things that I find very valuable, helpful. Cookie Nook does a good job of that. They send some things that are very valuable, very helpful. Hair salons can be a great way to do that. Okay? Places or businesses that are sending things that I really want to get, I love to get. Ones that are sending crap, let's try and get through the bad. And if I'm offending anyone saying crap, I'm sorry. But let's send things that people find valuable.
We do our mailing through constant contact, and I mean, I'm sure mail connection probably has it too, but you can see your click response, how many people read it, open it, how many people trash it, which is then helpful for us for our future listeners.
It also tracks bad emails.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And do you send the same email to everyone? One of the things we would let everyone know too is you've got certain people, different personas that you should be sending certain emails to. You've got other personas that you should not be, but you're absolutely right. One of the things we love about email is you can track it. You know who's reading it, you know who likes it, you know who shares it, you know what's effective, you know what days of the week are more successful than others, so we love it for a lot of reasons. But you're absolutely right. Thank you for bringing that up. And Constant Contact is a great service. MailChimp is a great service, and there's probably others. We're fans of those too. So 86% of professionals prefer to use email when communicating. Who does a lot of communication nowadays via email? I do too. Who sets appointments via email? Right? How difficult is it to try and pin someone down to an exact time when they're at their desk and you can talk to them and they have their calendar open? It's so much more convenient in most cases. Just send an email and say, look, love to meet with you. I can do this or this or this or this. The email back, life's good. Work for everybody. Communication too. I want to talk to you when it's convenient for me to talk to you. I want to open your email when it's convenient for me to open your email. I don't want to do it just when you want to talk to me. So a lot of advantages there. And $44 sources suggest, $44 is the ROI of email from someone. What does that say? If you spend 30 to 44, all right, let's back up.
$44 for every dollar spent on email.
For every dollar you spend, on average, you can expect a return of between $38 and $44. Did I get it right eventually?
You got it.
You were going to let me hang for a little while too, weren't you? So for every dollar you spend, what if I said to you, give me $1, I'll give you 44. How many dollars would you give me? If you're not using email, you're potentially missing out on it. Let's say yours isn't that good. Would you take $10 for every dollar you spend? It's a good investment in most cases, if done right. Again, you can waste a lot of money, waste a lot of time, you can take people off. Let's figure out a way to do it right. And 75% of companies agree that email offers good or excellent ROI. So people that are using it, people that are doing a good job with it, are saying, Chris, this is good, we make money on this, we love it. If you're not there, let's help get you there. Again, if you're not happy with what you're doing, lower your expectations or fix it. I don't want a bunch of depressed people in here. Let's fix things and move on. What about everything else? I mentioned 4. Does that mean I shouldn't do radio? I shouldn't do TV? I shouldn't do direct mail? I don't know. I will tell you that they're different for every business. And what is the perfect strategy for you may not be the perfect strategy for you. What's working for Michael may not work for Brian. So let's figure out the way to do it, and let's figure out what's best for you. How do we do that? By following a process. By understanding the target audience. By understanding where the target audience gets their information and what makes them respond. And then what are we going to do after we see how they respond? Let's track it. So everything else is a big maybe. If you're doing it, it's working, you're doing well, great, keep doing it. If you're doing it and you're not sure, let's look at it and see why it's not working or why you're not sure. What we don't want you to do though, just don't do stuff. Don't just tactic dump. Don't feel like you need to do something. Let's do something correctly. Analysis. Come to the home stretch. Your objectives should guide your metrics. Meaning, what are you looking to achieve, and how do we know if we've achieved them, right? And trying to measure everything that you're doing in all different ways is like bowling in the wrong lane, okay? If your goal is to just knock down pins, it doesn't matter what lane you're in. If your goal is to score well, you want to stay in your lane. And you want to measure it, you want to track it, you want to make sure it's what you were looking to do. If you're going to track leads and sales, you have to do something trackable. Meaning, people ask all the time, well, how do I know if it's working, or how do you track it? There's lots of different ways to track things. Obviously, landing pages, links, trackable phone numbers, special offers, coupon codes, basic analytics. If you're going to do it, if you thought enough about it, and it made sense to do it, track it. And there's different ways to track it, there's different ways to gauge success, and we'll talk about those next. Okay. When we talk about metrics, there's a hierarchy of metrics. Okay, start at the bottom, start at the base. There's the metrics of execution. These will tell you, are we doing things right? Was the email we sent effective? When we put the ad in the paper, did we get calls on it? Is our website bringing people in? And are they bouncing off right away? Are they clicking through to other pages? Then there's strategy. Are we doing the right things? Meaning, okay, we did this big email campaign, or we did a campaign with pay-per-click, or we put an ad in the paper. Was that the right things to do? Was that the correct strategy? Did that reach our core audience? Was our message good enough? Was our call to action good enough that they actually did something about it? And then lastly, okay, let's say we drove traffic. Let's say we got leads, we got appointments, but did it make us money? Because ultimately, why are we marketing? What's our purpose for getting paid every day? Why do we get up and get a shower and get all dressed up and go into work and put up with the boss? And why do we do all that stuff? And love my boss, Tom. Why are we doing all those things? Okay? Ultimately, we're there to make money for the company or ourselves or for the charity to help people. What's our why? Personally. Again, hierarchy of metrics. Execution metrics. Consumption, meaning who's looking at it, who's bringing in the information, who's gathering data. Are they sharing it? Are they being engaged? strategic? Are they generating leads? Are these the most effective channels that we use? And again, revenue metrics. What's the revenue coming in? And what's their profit? If you spent $1,000 in the course of a year, and you brought in $1,000, okay, we can celebrate we brought in $1,000, but was it worthwhile? Would you have been better off doing nothing? What kind of profit are you making? Again, because they can't pay us, we can't help people, we can't do the right things if we don't generate profit for the company or the organization. Or at least we can't do it for very long, all right? Eventually, it's going to come through. Top-level metrics you should reach for, okay? What we're looking for, how many leads and customers did we generate by source? Meaning, source is, we know we generated this many through our PPC campaign. We know we generated this many through email. We did email blasts and this many leads came through. We know that our website brought in this many people, okay? And what are conversion rates like as prospects move through the funnel? What kind of revenue did we generate? And then if we brought a customer in, what's the long-term value of that customer? How do we keep an eye on, how do we track what the lifetime value is? And okay, this customer only spent $1,000 this year, well, we're going to have this customer for the next 10 years. That customer is worth $10,000. We need to make sure we understand that about our clients and what they're worth for us. What they're worth for us. Number 6, adaptation. I had a conversation with someone this week and they asked about flexibility. And okay, we have a marketing plan, we put it in place. Should we ever veer from it? Should we adjust? Should we adapt? The answer is yes. You need to be flexible. Your marketing plan should not be a document that you create once, put on a shelf, and never look at again. Look at it, gauge it, judge it, adjust to it, make sure it's working, and be secure enough, be strong enough, be smart enough to know that you've got to adjust things along the way. If you set something up and it should have worked perfectly, and it's not, ask yourself, why isn't it working? And there's a lot of reasons why it might be, there's a lot of reasons why it isn't. Look at the metrics and try and be as objective as possible as to how you can improve it. Don't set it in stone. It's okay if you don't get it right the first time. Forgive yourself, okay? I don't know if a lot of you are probably perfect. Some of us aren't, okay? So admit that you don't know everything. Be smart enough to admit, be smart enough to know that you don't know everything, and be flexible and take a look at it. Try and manage by the metrics. Manage by the numbers as best you can and adjust things as you need. Now, that doesn't mean change it every day. It doesn't mean make huge sweeping changes. It means make tweaks, make adjustments. Be flexible with how you do it. How often should you do it? After major campaigns. So take a hard look. You made a major campaign. We looked at it. Let's see what worked, what didn't work, what can we do better. Always ask yourself, what can I do better? Quarterly, I would say, guys, at least do a quarterly review and do it somewhat formally. Go down through, reread your marketing plan, reread your strategy. Make sure you're staying in line with what your strategy was. Ask yourself, is this the right message to the right people? Are we delivering it in the right fashion? Okay? Hold yourself accountable to these things. Again, if it's not working, you can lower your standards or fix it. We want people to fix it. And at least do an annual revision. Okay? Every year, you should redo your marketing plan, take a really hard, objective look at it, and just look at the overall landscape, and make sure, too, that your marketing mission, your marketing goals, are in line with your company goals. Again, 6 steps of marketing. Discovery, ideation, strategy, tactics, analysis, and then be adaptive. Okay, don't set it in stone. Set it in less unyielding than stone. Something less unyielding than stone. So be flexible, make a plan, and then stick to it. and I'll just say thank you.